Let's imagine you're lost in the Antarctic Ocean. You lean over the edge, peering into the frigid, dark waters below, expecting to see nothing more than tiny fish darting by, or faint clouds of microscopic plankton drifting lazily through the ocean. But what you actually witness is something so surreal, so completely outside your understanding of life and size, that it almost feels like you've stepped into an entirely different world. On the seafloor, spiders crawl, except these aren't ordinary spiders. Their leg spans are longer than some medium-sized dogs, their movements deliberate yet alien in their grace. Massive jellyfish float through the water, their translucent bodies gliding with a slow elegance, tentacles stretching farther than the longest whales you've ever seen. And even the fish that look normal at first glance are grotesquely oversized, distorted by the extreme cold into forms that challenge your imagination. And yes, all of this is real. This isn't fiction or exaggeration. It's the frozen, hyper-evolved reality of life at the bottom of the Antarctic Ocean. Welcome to the astonishing world of polar gigantism, a phenomenon that is largely unknown to the general public simply because it only manifests in the most extreme, coldest oceans on the planet. At first glance, it seems counterintuitive. In an environment so harsh, so unforgiving, where the temperature hovers near freezing and food is sparse, you would expect evolution to favor smaller, more energy-efficient forms. You'd expect creatures to shrink, conserving every calorie to survive. And yet here, nature flips that expectation entirely on its head. Small creatures become enormous, and large creatures expand to unimaginable proportions. The rules of life are being rewritten. To understand this, we need to look at one of the most dramatic examples, the colossal squid. Many people, when they hear giant squid, immediately think of deep-sea gigantism. But in the case of the colossal squid, the story is far more complex. These incredible animals inhabit the frigid waters around Antarctica, where temperatures cling to the 0-degree mark, sometimes even dipping below it. Because of the ocean's high salinity, the water doesn't freeze even at this temperature. But that doesn't make it any less inhospitable. Survival here requires radical adaptation.
Colossal squids belong to the glass squid family, a group named for their usually translucent, almost ethereal bodies. Transparency is their original strategy, to disappear in the water to avoid predators and ambush prey. But the colossal squid? It's anything but transparent. In the icy Antarctic waters, being see-through isn't particularly helpful. Polar gigantism has intervened. Their bodies are thick and muscular, trading fragility for insulation, while still retaining the stealth necessary to catch prey in total darkness. Their reddish skin absorbs the faint bioluminescent light of their prey, rendering them nearly invisible until it's too late. With few predators, only the occasional sperm whale, these creatures are built for sneaking up on prey, not fleeing from danger. But why are they so massive? Surprisingly, the answer isn't food, it's oxygen. Cooled water holds far more oxygen than warm water. For most animals, oxygen availability is a natural limiter on size. In tropical or temperate oceans, the scarcity of oxygen prevents most creatures from growing too large. But in the near-freezing waters of the Antarctic, oxygen is abundant. Over millions of years, this allowed glass squids to evolve into true giants, growing massive without the limitation of oxygen scarcity. And as they grew, their bodies became thicker and more robust, shedding their delicate transparency. Evolution literally forced them to get bigger and bigger or face extinction. And the colossal squid isn't an isolated example. Look at the Antarctic sea spider. In tropical waters, sea spiders are tiny, often just 2 centimeters across. But in the Antarctic, they grow to over 2 feet wide. And here's the fascinating part. They breathe through their legs. Each leg acts like a massive oxygen-absorbing organ, allowing their bodies to support massive sizes. Unlike crabs or lobsters, these spiders aren't brawlers, they are predators. They move across the seafloor with their long legs, stepping carefully over sponges, corals, and starfish. Their proboscis functions like a straw, piercing prey, sometimes starfish, and sucking out their insides, with a precision that is both efficient and horrifying.
Speaking of starfish, the Antarctic variety is nothing like the familiar species you've seen in aquariums or tide pools. These starfish can have over 50 arms, 10 times the usual number. They're not just prey, they are predators themselves. Antarctic starfish can live over 40 years, compared to just 5 years for their warm water relatives. Cannibalism is common. The ecosystem here is brutal, yet fascinating. Each organism, from the tiniest copepod to the colossal squid, is an example of polar gigantism in action, showing how evolution reshapes life in extreme conditions. Even the lion's mane jellyfish, the longest animal on Earth, is a product of this extreme environment. Its tentacles can stretch far beyond a blue whale's body length. While the blue whale has far more mass, the lion's mane jellyfish demonstrates how polar gigantism allows life to reach lengths and proportions that would be impossible elsewhere. Compare it to the blue jellyfish, which lives in warm waters, and the difference is astonishing. Here, the cold, stable environment slows metabolism, reduces energy expenditure, and allows these creatures to grow to extraordinary sizes. So, what drives all of this? Oxygen is a major factor, yes, but metabolism, environmental stability, and evolution also play crucial roles. In cold water, metabolism slows. Large bodies become more efficient, burning less energy per unit of mass. The Antarctic Ocean is remarkably stable. Temperature fluctuations are minimal, pressure is constant, and predators are rare. In such an environment, there's no evolutionary pressure to remain small or fast. Instead, being massive, slow, and resilient is advantageous. Colossal squids, giant sea spiders, Antarctic starfish, and enormous jellyfish have all capitalized on these conditions. However, polar gigantism does not apply to warm-blooded animals. Creatures like penguins or polar bears grow larger in colder climates, but for entirely different reasons. They follow Bergmann's rule, which states that larger body sizes in colder regions help conserve heat. Polar bears are significantly larger than their cousins in temperate regions, and emperor penguins dwarf tropical birds. This extra mass acts as insulation, helping them survive extreme cold. But even for them, there's a limit. Too much size requires too much energy, which is scarce in the polar regions. This is why warm-blooded animals cannot reach the monstrous proportions seen in cold-blooded Antarctic creatures.
Even the smallest creatures, such as Antarctic copepods, are affected. These tiny plankton are nearly 10 times heavier than their tropical relatives, making them visible to the naked eye. This demonstrates that polar gigantism extends from apex predators to microscopic organisms, fundamentally reshaping the ecosystem. Interestingly, not all species experience gigantism. Some, like certain icefish or snailfish, exhibit polar dwarfism. These species evolve smaller bodies to survive food shortages and extreme conditions, reaching adulthood faster and reproducing sooner. In an environment where food is only available a few months each year, staying small can literally mean the difference between life and death. Evolution, in this case, has favored survival through miniaturization rather than gigantism. Life in the Antarctic is also incredibly slow. Many animals can live for decades, and some remain nearly unchanged from ancestors that swam under the ice millions of years ago. Evolution occurs at a glacial pace. Antarctic sea spiders, urchins, and certain fish lineages have remained virtually frozen in time, allowing ecosystems to achieve a remarkable balance. The stability of this environment has created living fossils, organisms perfected by millions of years of extreme selection. But this fragility is a double-edged sword. Polar giants are perfectly adapted for stability. Remove that stability, raise ocean temperatures slightly, reduce oxygen levels, or alter the chemical composition of the water, and the system begins to collapse. Even minor changes can turn an advantage into a liability. Massive creatures that once dominated the frozen deep
may suddenly find themselves struggling to survive. And this isn't just theoretical. As global oceans warm, oxygen levels drop. Sea spiders are shrinking in regions where the water is warming, and colossal squids could face similar threats. These monsters of the deep, seemingly invincible, are vulnerable to changes in their environment. Their very survival depends on water that remains freezing, dense, and oxygen-rich. Disrupt that balance, and the consequences could be catastrophic. Despite their terrifying appearance and enormous size, these creatures pose no threat to humans. Colossal squids, for instance, have never attacked anyone. They are relics of an ancient world, survivors of extreme evolution, and living proof of nature's power to adapt in the harshest conditions. They remind us that life, when faced with unimaginable challenges, doesn't just endure, it transforms into something extraordinary. Freeze the ocean, and life doesn't die. It mutates, it grows, it thrives. And in the Antarctic, it does so on a scale that defies imagination. From tiny plankton to colossal squids, every organism is a testament to evolution's unpredictable brilliance.